Warm greetings from the High 10. It's Everyday Shenanigans. Thanks for joining me. The District Attorney General has decided to come forward to speak about the Summer Wells case for the first time. I will play you audio from WJHL. I will also read at length an article pertaining to his commentary. I will also play Court TV commentary from many months ago when they first got the case pertaining to Summer Wells. And I also will play another network's commentary, his own personal opinions, Nablus Crime. I'm going to play his commentary. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. 3 sources of information will be divulged during this live. Thank you for joining me. 3 viewing, amen. Thank you. Hello, Angie. How are you, sweetheart? I'm going to go back to the beginning because we're almost 10 months in a week or so, half from now. Today's the 6th, so 9 days from now will be the 15th. And in 9 days, it will mark 10 months that a call went into the dispatch 911 center, Hawkins County, from a Candace Bly Wells that her 5-year-old child was missing out of the holler. We will go back. We will also dissect the lead investigator's commentary again. What is it that he's trying to tell us? And we will also dissect the Attorney General's commentary. And why did he decide to come forward? Is this an elaborate plan to let us know that they got this? That you need not be discouraged. You need not worry about the case pertaining to Summer Wells. They got it under control. And perhaps what was told by the lead investigator is possibly not even the truth, that maybe they know more than we do, because indeed they have the tools to know more with TBI and the FBI involved. And they cannot divulge everything that they've heard, seen, asked. We will dissect why the family has an attorneys, why they are not cooperating with law officials now at 10 months, or 9.5 months rather. Why not? We will dissect it all. Hello, Kathy, Katie, Marge, Mary, Marie, Bernadette. Thank you for joining the Queen. Faithful followers, amen. I would have been on much earlier, but my time got away from me with Aaron running and doing good deeds. Because you see, you have to give back in order to get your blessings. So I had to go out of the area to help an elderly person and pass the blessings on. And she was indeed grateful for the Queen's help. That's how the Queen rocks. Thank you all for joining me. I got 51 now. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Yes, I made sure somebody's belly would be full. Indeed, God is good. WJHL is the source. This is the Attorney General giving his commentary to Ansley Daniels.
Search for missing Summer Wells continues tonight. That's the Hawkins County girl who's now been missing for nearly 10 months.
Tonight, for the first time, we're hearing from District Attorney General Dan Armstrong about his role in the investigation into what happened to the missing 6-year-old Summer Wells.
On the night of June 15th, District Attorney General Armstrong called in the TBI to help with the search efforts for Summer Wells. Now, almost 10 months later and no real developments, this case is unlike anything he's ever worked before.
The sheriff will contact other law enforcement agencies, and under the way the TBI is set up, I have to make the formal request for the TBI. So the sheriff, when in this particular case, he had called and asked for help from all the agencies, and then called me, and I asked the TBI to get involved.
The long-spanning search for Summer Wells can feel like a blur, but the night of June 15th is clear as day, just as the call to issue an Amber Alert on the 16th.
An Amber Alert is where a child is missing from either the person that's supposed to have legal custody of them are their parents. And so we put out the Amber Alert to alert everybody, including citizens. If you have a cell phone, your phone will go off on Amber Alerts. So you can be on the lookout and help us spot this child if the child happens to show up in your area.
No one has been charged in relation to Summer's disappearance, but that doesn't mean the district attorney isn't involved.
My role basically is just to be an advisor as to any legal issues that may come up during the search, who to talk to, how to go about doing that. I am kept briefed periodically, not every day, but periodically, and just available to provide any legal assistance that I can.
As law enforcement is flooded with tips and the seasons change, small-scale searches have taken place in the Beach Creek area.
We follow leads as they come in, and so at this point, you're basically down to just following whatever leads come in and following up, maybe trying to backtrack and do some things you did before to see if anything comes of it.
The most recent ground search back in February didn't bring anything, and right now there isn't another one planned. Coming up tonight at 6, you'll hear more from District Attorney General Armstrong about his role in the investigation and how it impacts the possibility of future charges.
Ansley, thank you. And Amber Alert is still active for Summer Wells tonight. Anyone with credible information that could help the investigators in the case, call the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations at 1-800-TBI.
All right. That's the sad information. WJHL is the source. I'm going to read you some commentary at full length pertaining to what he had to say and his involvement and his role with the investigators, TBI, Hawkins County Sheriff's Department, and the FBI. Thank you for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans. WJHL is the source. On the night of June 15th, District Attorney General Dan Armstrong, called in the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation to help with the search efforts for Summer Wells. Let me repeat what I just said in case somebody gets it misunderstood. On June 15th, 2021, Mr. Armstrong called in TBI to help with the search efforts for Summer Wells. Almost 10 months later, with no real developments, this case is unlike anything he's ever worked on before. That is also the same word spoken of the lead investigator, Mr. Pruitt. The sheriff will contact other law enforcement agencies, but under the way the TBI is set up, I have to make the formal request for the TBI, Armstrong said. So the sheriff in this particular case, he had called. Let me repeat that. The sheriff in this particular case called and asked for help from all the agencies and then called me. And I asked the TBI to get involved. So basically, he's the head knocker. He has to do the navigation to get the help. So know that. The sheriff asked, and then he asked TBI. The long-spanning search for Summer Wells can feel like a blur, but the night of June 15th is clear as day to Armstrong, just as the call to issue an Amber Alert the following day. An Amber Alert is where a child is missing from either the person that's supposed to have legal custody of them or their parents. So we put out the Amber Alert to alert everybody, including citizens, said Armstrong. No one has been charged in relation to Summer's disappearance, but that doesn't mean the district attorney isn't involved. It's a case that has implications for the legal system and the law, but you couldn't classify it right now. There are no criminal charges that have been filed, Armstrong said. My role is basically just to be an advisor. If any legal issues come up in the search, who to talk to, how to go about doing that. I am kept briefed periodically. Not every day, but periodically, and just available to provide any legal assistance that I can. Summer's older brothers were put into Child Protective Services custody last July, but no charges have been filed over their removal. Interesting. No charges have been filed over their removal. I'd like to get more information on that commentary. However, her father, Don Wells, is serving time in the Hawkins County Jail over DUI violation of probation charges. It's a very complicated issue that has been made more complicated by the players in this drama. You heard that, did you not? He said drama. Armstrong declined to comment about Donwell's legal troubles. He said the possibility of a charge and arrest could happen at some point. We make ourselves available to both the sheriff's office and the TBI to advise them as to the consequences of the next step that they're proposing to take and how we can do it to where, if there is eventually a prosecution, said Armstrong. What they gather will be something that we can introduce in the court, make sure we cover all those bases, quote unquote. If an arrest ever does take place, that's when Armstrong will look at what charges can be filed. If it ever got to the point we were ready to consider charges, then of course they would talk to me about what charges and who to charge. And a case like this would generally go to a grand jury, he explained. Even though he stays in touch with law enforcement about where they're at in the investigation, Armstrong is almost at a standstill in his particular role. Now we have to ask, what does that mean? Is it the obvious that they don't have anything or they need more for an arrest? Stay woke. We follow leads as they come in. And so at this point, you're basically down to just following whatever leads come in and following up, he said. Maybe trying to backtrack and do some things you did before to see if anything comes of it. That's the said commentary by WJHL. So now we have two key players in this saga to come forward to give their commentary of their roles in this case of a missing child. Mr. Pruitt, lead investigator, and Mr. Dan Armstrong. What are they trying to tell us? Are they telling us perhaps they're going to bring the bank? Because a lot of you have gotten restless. You've gotten beside yourselves thinking they don't have anything because this is what Mr. Pruitt said. So some of you have gotten discouraged. Can you not hear me, dear? I should still be on. Is it perhaps they do have something and they are introducing the key players because they are dotting I's and crossing T's? Could it be? Okay, thank you, Angie. Could it be something is on the way and he let it be known that arrests are possible? So possibly we have been subtly misled, let's say, so that the persons who are to be arrested don't think they're going to be arrested. Stay woke now. You don't tell a person you're going to come raid their house, do you? Because that wouldn't make any sense. Hey, Pookie, Bubba, on Thursday, I'm going to come at 12 p.m. and kick your door in. So whatever you have inside illegal, you best to get it out of there. Are you following what I'm saying to you? Perhaps they do have something. And they want the perpetrators to think that they don't. Let them get more lax than they've been, more comfortable than they've been. And then we're going to come in gangster style. I'm going to have faith. Today was a good day for the Queen. So I'm going to have faith that this will not be a cold case. This will not be another depressing year with no information pertaining to Summer Wells. I just played your WJHL's audio pertaining to the District Attorney General. I just read your article in length telling you his role. He's basically the one that calls the shots. as far as what will make charges stick. We're going to go back to the beginning today. After I give my commentary, you are free to hit the link and give your voice. Another network has gone into the holler looking around. Why, I do not know. And tried to speak with Don Wells. That, I don't know why that either, because anybody with sense should know it's not 1992 or 3 where you just show up at the jail and see people. It doesn't work like that anymore. Obviously, Donald Wells has to give his permission. I believe all this is for show, and I don't understand why you all are just, you won't let it go. You just can't stop yourselves. You're just adamant to keep BS going pertaining to this child, and it's sad. And I can see why there's been a hindrance in getting to the truth. Because look at the shit you all are doing still, going into month 10. Just anything for video. And it's sad. I watched tonight and I just shook my head like, wow, this is, when is it going to end? I'm going to play you commentary from another creator. And everything he says, basically in his commentary, I pretty much agree with. He directs his commentary to Candace Bly Wells. Candace, what are you going to tell the truth and end this? Why don't you cooperate with authorities and we can put an end to this? The YouTubers can go find them something to do. Paint their toenails or fingernails. And we can stop talking about you and Donald and all your little ugly friends that have turned on you and find something else to talk about. If you just go to the TBI, FBI, Hawkins County, and tell them the truth of what you did with the child. We can put an end to this. I think that's the best advice I've heard all damn week. Just tell the truth, Candace. What did you do with Summer Wells? What did you do with the child? You did something with her. You did something. You know, we know you did something with her. I think it's obvious at this point. And it's time for you to stop this nonsense. And these games, you and Don and all your little friends, it is time to put an end to the shenanigans. Thank you, Desire to Heart. Thank you all so much for joining me. We're going to go back to the beginning. Since everybody's been chopping up who said what, who shot JR, who shot Sue Ellen, we're going to go back to the very words of Candace Bly Wells. Because I got a feeling the bang is on its way. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. Won't be the first time. But the fact that two people have come out to speak, perhaps they are gearing up to let you know they will be the key players in this saga. Did that ever occur to any of you? That there was a reason that the lead investigator spoke, and now the Attorney General has let you see who he is, because you will be seeing him in the near future. Ting. Stay woke. I always tell you all, pay attention to the details. Everything's in the details. Maybe that is why they have come forward, because you will be seeing them. Court TV, 9 months ago, discusses at that time a 5-year-old by the name of Summer Wells missing with Ansley Daniel, who works for WJHL. Thank you for joining me.
Paid time off as a dental hygienist.
Oops, sorry.
Health insurance
Sorry
as a dental
about that.
hygienist.
I got to pull this case off because we're not working well together. This thing. Got another case for this device, and it's holding me back from my knobs to work properly. Thank you all for joining me. Let's see where we can go with this.
We went in after we got done washing.
I cannot get this to go back to the beginning.
Me and my mother and her were planting flowers.
For some reason, I can't get this volume up. Hold on.
And we went in after we got done washing our hands.
Hold on. I'm going to start at the beginning. This is not playing good.
You saw the aerials, this area where this little girl disappeared from. Here is Summerwell's mother, Candace Bly, speaking.
I don't know why my volume is so low. Hold on, you guys. Let me get this together. Something's... Lordy. Only when I go live. Yes, I don't mind keeping you woke. I don't know why it's not playing. The volume seems low for some reason. Hold on, you guys. Let me start over. Mercy. 1 second. I want to restart it. Thanks for joining me. If you'd like to donate to the channel, $Ganji 129 Cash App. All super chats are welcome during this live. We're going to go back to the beginning. 9 months ago. This information was uploaded to YouTube Q. Court TV is the source. It's a very sick situation going on. I pray that these men coming forward is a reason for the season. Because as I said, many of you have voiced your opinion that you feel like the case is cold. They don't have anything. I just pray that that is not the truth. Maybe there's a reason Mr. Pruitt said that. It's for the people who are involved to think. They don't have anything. Because naturally, you can't tell the killer, oh, yeah, by the way, I ain't got nothing. Or, hey, I'm on my way. Come get you. That wouldn't make any sense. All right, let's try this again. Let's see if I can get this audio to play. All right, that's a little bit better. Ooh, mercy.
This area where this little girl disappeared from. Here is Summerwell's mother, Candace Bly, speaking.
I don't know why this audio is so low.
Me and my mother and her were planting flowers.
I'm not pleased with this. Hold on, you guys. This is strange. The commercial is loud, but the audio for the TV show is very low. I don't know what's going on.
You saw the aerials, this area where this little girl disappeared from. Here is Summerwell's
I want to play something else because this is, I can't play that. That's too low. I can't even hear it myself. Hold on a minute. Let me put my other speaker on. Thanks for your patience. I don't know what's going on. It's becoming, I'm starting to get annoyed. Oh my goodness, it's like, what is going on? Whew. Okay. Let's see if we can get something louder going on here. Thanks for your patience. I don't know why the commercials played louder than the commentary. It's very strange. Yeah, I'm praying. This is put an ending to this. I'm ready for an ending. This is going on too long. I can't deal with this anymore.
You saw the aerials, this area where this little girl disappeared from. Here is Summerwell's mother, Candace Bly, speaking to WJHF.
Me and my mother. And
I guess it's the commentary is just low itself. Because I've got my speaker turned all the way
We
up.
went in after we got done washing our hands, and she got a piece of candy from Grandma, and she wanted to go back over and see her brothers. And I said, okay. And I walked her all the way over to the porch, and I watched her walk into the kitchen where the boys were watching TV. And I told the boys, I said, watch Summer, I'll be back. And within 2 minutes, I came back. And I asked the boys where their sister was, and they said, she went downstairs, Mom, to play with her toys in the playroom. I said, okay. And I yelled downstairs for her a couple times, and I didn't get no answer, which was unusual because usually she always answers me. And so I went down there to check, and she was nowhere in sight. She was just gone. She was just gone.
Puzzling. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Still with us, retired crime lab director for the San Diego Police Department, Jennifer Shannon. Joining us, reporter from WJHL, who's been covering this case in depth. Ansley Daniels with us as well. Ansley, thanks so much for joining us. Let me start with you. What's the latest tonight in the search for Summer Wells?
The latest tip count from the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation is at 650 tips this evening. None of those have led to Summer, unfortunately, and they are still looking out for that red truck that you mentioned. Since that was put out over the weekend, there's been no sighting, and again, no credible tips leading to where Summer could be tonight, 2 weeks after she was reported missing.
All right, Ansley, describe, I saw some aerials there. I've got a flavor for it, but you're much closer to all this. Describe the home, the neighborhood. I mean, because I'm trying to get in my mind how someone could get to that home to abduct this girl and get away without anyone necessarily from the home or notice or see. How would you describe the area, access to the home, etc.?
This area here is very mountainous. It's very rural, as you heard the incident commander mention earlier. It is definitely a tough terrain for these crews to be searching in. It's also very hot here. That area where Summer lives, her home is kind of far off from the road. I'd say it's maybe half a mile to 3/4 of a mile off of the main road in the Beach Creek area. And her home does sit up on a hill. It is fairly difficult to get up to. I agree with you there. But I will say that here are some other issues that these first responders and rescuers are dealing with in this area, especially before they scaled back. One of the communications issues, it is very rural, as I mentioned before. There's not a lot of cell service, and there also have been issues with Hawkins County's radio system for first responders as well as 911 calls and things of that nature, which also caused some other issues in this search as well.
And one more question along the lines of the terrain and everything else. For someone to abduct this child, would they have to know where that home is, or are you going to casually drive by that home? Or would you have to target that home and say, okay, I know there's a home up there, I know there's some kids, I'm going to park my car here, I'm going to go to that home? I mean, if you drove, can you drive the car all the way up to the house with people in the house not be able to see it? I mean, this is the part that I'm not quite putting together because it seems like it's so remote to me, but I haven't been there.
It is very far back off of the road. In my opinion, you do probably need a reason to go up to this house. It's not just a place that you would drive up. And Ben Hill Road is also not really a road that you would drive up to either. However, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation has not identified that this could be an abduction yet. They just continue to say that the circumstances surrounding what happened to Summer are unclear, and that does hold true for us as well. We have heard that she could have just walked off, but again, we believe that they would have found her by now if that was the case. So there is, like you said, a lot of unknowns, but this area is kind of far back, and the home is up on a hill, so you would most definitely have to have a reason to go up there.
All right, Jennifer Shen, if we're talking about an abduction, I guess one of the challenges that we heard from Ansley is cell service, right? One way we often kind of try to figure out whose cell phone is pinging off the towers, who is in the area, and it creates leads sometimes for investigators. Gonna be tough to do that in this one, huh, Jennifer?
It will be tough to do that, and it looks like in this case, you really need to find her to find evidence. There just doesn't seem to be any evidence of any kind, and I agree. It's pretty remote, and for someone to have gone there and taken her specifically, then you wonder if that person had been watching her, if that was something that had been planned, because it's not something you would just sort of drive by and it's a moment of opportunity sort of abduction, if that's what happened.
Right, and again, this is what the parents are saying they believe happened, that there was some sort of an abduction. Nancy, we also heard 40 registered sex offenders within the zip code. How geographically, though, I got to think that zip code's probably pretty spread out. It's not like there's 40 people right next door.
It is very spread out. That area, another thing that law enforcement mentioned, like you said, it is very spread out. There were a lot of people there that have large patches and chunks of land. And again, it's so spread out that people aren't on top of each other like they would be in a typical neighborhood. And a lot of these people do typically have abandoned buildings and other things on their property as well that kind of adds into that search issue as well. But like you mentioned, 40 sex offenders in that area, they could really be spread out compared to a typical neighborhood setting.
Let me ask you, Jennifer, about, she's 5 years old. I mean, and it seemed like Mom said within a few minutes they realized something was going on here. How far is a 5-year-old going to be able to get? I mean, so, you go to the mall, the kids, they kind of dart off. We've seen that happen. This is rough terrain, though, Jennifer.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising to me that they could lose her in 2 minutes. So we wonder how long it was. Maybe it seemed like 2 minutes, maybe it was a little bit longer. And the terrain is rough, and it would be scary for a 5-year-old to be out there alone in that. So, with all those people searching and using the kind of search techniques that they are, if she was there, it seems like they would have found her. So that is certainly concerning.
Ansley, what do we know about this maroon red vehicle that was mentioned? What are the circumstances surrounding that?
All we know is that that vehicle was in the area around the time Summer went missing. We were told that it was part of the investigation for the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation to receive trail camera footage and surveillance video from nearby homes, and that is where that truck was believed to be picked up on. We were told that they could have been in the area as well the night before around the same time. They also conducted a roadblock in that area, but since they put that call out over the weekend, we were told that they have not found the driver of that truck. But they continue to stress that is just a witness who might know what happened and that they are not considered to be a suspect.
All right, Ansley Daniel, WJHL, doing great work. Thank you so much. Jennifer Shen, always appreciate your insight as well. Thank you.
All right, everybody, that's Court TV. Great commentary by the ladies. 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, all the same when you're lying. You see, the one thing Candace did not do in this interview with Miss Ansley was give a timeline. And I find it interesting that the reporter didn't ask, because I would have asked. I would have said, what time did you go into the camper, ma'am? Come on with it, Queen. You see, that's the one thing nobody has done in an interview with Candace Bly, is asked for a time. Because I wouldn't settle for, I can't remember. I'm not good with time. It's bullshit. Yes, you are. You choose not to give a time because you know that there are nosy Parkers out here that will chop it up and put it together and take away the pieces that don't make any sense. Because you see, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, it's all lies. That's why you won't give a time. I got home at this time, I did this, then I went over at the camper at this time, 6:15, 6 o'clock, planted flowers, walked her in the house, Went back after fooling with my mom's knee. Called her, looked around in the basement, went outside, looked on the property, called the kids. This took us 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And then I called at 6:27 or 6:29, whatever the correct time is that she called the dispatch. So basically all of this took place actually at after 6 o'clock. Am I getting that correct, Candace? Can you remember that, Candace? That this BS took place after 6 p.m. Yeah, what I thought. No more mention of the red truck. Don't y'all find that interesting? Wandered off. Foul play was mentioned. No arrests. Everybody was a suspect, still a suspect. This is what we've gotten in the past 10 months. The scream that was allegedly heard by a neighbor, debunked by Ronnie Lawson. No other evidentiary material except for he said and she said. So everything you heard that was he said, she said by neighbors has been debunked by law officials. Ask yourself why. So could these neighbors be bored, wanting attention? And you YouTubers gave it to them. But the law officials were not interested, obviously. So how embarrassing could that be? To be running to these social media networks with these versions of what I heard, what I saw. And then law officials say, nah, I don't think so. Pretty jacked up. The terrain. It's steep, it's rough. I know, I live here. So I know what it's like here. And I can tell you for the work that I do, you don't want to be caught back there unattended. Just let me make this clear to some people that like going back in the holler looking for stuff. Let me make this very clear to you. It doesn't matter if you're white. If they didn't send for you back there, you don't got no business back there. And riding around on one-lane roads can end up a very dangerous situation if you pull up on something that you wasn't supposed to see. Stay woke now. Because I do believe that's where Summer Wells is. I believe she's back there in Beach Creek somewhere. That's why they keep searching back there, because I think law officials believe she is back there. But all this meddling and making videos to go back there, it's old and it's boring to me because it's a waste of time. You're not actually searching. You're just riding in your car. That's not really searching. Searching is getting out, walking through the terrain. And then telling where FBI searched. Was that really a good idea? I mean, I'm just saying. Maybe TBI, FBI don't want people to know they were back there searching. And you just couldn't wait to tell it. Then you pointed out somebody's mailbox. That was real grimy. Come on now. You're too old for that. You all are messy as fuck, man. I don't really know what world some of you live in, because in the world I live in, somebody might pay you a visit. Follow you out the holler. Or make sure you don't leave the holler. Be real easy. Get you gone back there. You back there snooping. You get caught on that one-lane road and get your car blocked in. My. You people underestimate the South. It's not called the Dirty South for nothing. Because many people have come here and they left back in a bag, going back to where they came from. Just say, some of you don't know your place. And you still meddling now, almost 10 months in, and it needs to stop because you're just doing stuff for attention and it's disrespectful to the little girl because you're not helping with the so-called drive-bys where you're not actually searching for Summer Wells. You're just driving in your car, and that's anybody can do that. I can do that. Just get in my car and go up there and drive on a road. I'm not wasting gas to go drive on a road to say, oh, I'm in Beach Creek. What's the point? But to each his own. Navel's True Crime. I'm going to give you your just due here on Everyday Shenanigans. I like the content you posted, and I'm going to play it for the audience because a lot of things you said in your video, I agree with. I truly agree with. Just Blind Don. Is this all part of a plan? Grand jury looming. Candace rants. This is by Navel's True Crime. It's uploaded 9 hours ago. Thank you for joining me. Well, I'm going to tell you this about the South. It's just as dirty as New York, Detroit, Chicago. Don't get it twisted. Don't let these, as we say, hillbillies and rednecks fool you. Don't let them fool you, honey. Because I know some white people that have told me they wouldn't go back up in the holler. And they're white. So if a white person will tell you they don't care to go back up in there, what you doing back up in there looking and snooping around? Some people got to learn the hard way. As old folks say, seek and ye shall find. Sure, there's some good people back there. There's good people everywhere. But I just don't believe in wandering around. It's dangerous.
Spoke to Anthony Daniel during the week. He didn't say a lot, but in the little that he did say, he told us a lot. Looks and sounds like he's under pressure, a bit deflated, a bit frustrated. He said he never worked a child case like this, not with the amount of agencies involved. Said he is dedicated to finding her, talks about his day, how he goes through his leads, all that stuff. He talked about all the tips that he goes through, and he kind of calls out social media here big time. Said that hasn't helped one bit, and asked people to go ahead and join LE instead of being internet sleuths. The problem here is I think most of these people have records, so they can't join. I think he's very annoyed, rightly so, at the amount of time he spent following up on false tips. And I see it here in the comments all the time. I get a lot of comments from people who know exactly where Summer is. She's in the basement, she's buried under Grandis's trailer, etc., etc. And I don't think these people are bad people. They just fully believe in their own psychic abilities and visions, and probably don't realize the damage that they're doing by calling stuff like this in. Many are frustrated at me and shutting in the comments at other people because they're not listening to them. And I imagine they send in tips also. And Ellie has to go through that. They have to follow up. And I worry that these people, because they believe so much in their visions, that they basically make things up to try and get their tip to the top of the queue. Just say little lies to make the tip seem more credible. Please don't call in tips on your psychic visions. Only call in credible tips. It's so important not to waste your time. And don't be making things up to try and get the police to look into an area that you have a hunch about. The agents and detectives working this case, from what I can see, have obsessed with it. They've gone into every area. They've searched that place as best they could with the resources they have. And if we think we went down rabbit holes, imagine the rabbit holes they've gone down. Because they have the data. They know exactly what's going on. And where did it get them? Nowhere, by the sounds of it. They said the case doesn't look much different now than it did in the first few days when someone went missing. They've gone through all the data, all the phone signals, all the GPS, anything that they can get their hands on. He's very clear in saying he believes she's close by. So even by him saying that, you can tell that they know how difficult this place is to search. It's not like the Michael Vaughan case where Ellie have come out and said, he's basically not here. We've searched this town, this area, umpteen times, turned it inside out. But it's a lot different. The areas are very different. Ben Hill Road, the whole area we know is so difficult to search. Even the photographs that we've seen recently kind of caught me off guard. It's a beast of a terrain. He doesn't really rule her out, but you can tell this is his least favourite. He doesn't believe that she was abducted out of the area or trafficked. Here's a short clip of him saying he thinks she's close by and wasn't taken or trafficked out of the area.
I believe that she would probably be somewhere close by. If we found nothing to lead us to believe that she's been abducted or trafficked out of the area.
And I think they'd have a good idea with the phone data and stuff that they got if that was the case. And I'm glad he said that because it stops me from getting dragged back down that road. I haven't gone fully into it, but there's smarter people than me that know it's a major issue in Tennessee, but don't believe it's the case there. People like Scott H., who know a lot more about the culture, the area, went down that rabbit hole and have come out of it. And it's a disturbing topic, so I'm going to try and save myself some time and not go near it unless something brings me back that direction. But the way the LE have talked about the GPS and the data and constantly pour cold water on this, you have to think that it's highly unlikely. It's highly unlikely. And what was key for me when he was talking about that, he said out of the area, and he talks about an abduction type situation. And I think here basically what he means is a neighbour or some close male by who would have grabbed Summer if she was at the end of the hill, which I think is possible. He talked again about Summer wandering away and says it is a viable option. But if that is the case, it does make you think that they would have finding her. They would have finding something. It's a difficult terrain to search, yeah, but if it's a wandering away case, you think you would find her. Might be a lot different if she's hidden or stashed. And he talks about Don and Candace. Again, like Ronnie, he says Don and Candace have lawyers involved. Kind of clarifies it a small bit here, but there must be something in it. He says they have attorneys appointed for the CPS case, which would have been appointed by the state. We know this. And he says because of that, that has leaked over into this case. I'm not sure how that works. I think the LE's definition here of not cooperating and the families is very different. But the whole thing just sounds like an appeal to Candace to come talk to them. Talk to them without an attorney, without a lawyer, without anyone. Just go in and talk to them. We know you're lying. Tell us why you're lying. Tell us what happened. Don's not here. Don won't be around for a while. Tread a new charges hanging over Don now. Surely all this is making Candace feel a lot safer. Go and talk to them. Tell them what you're lying about. Like even Ellie now are coming out saying, yeah, someone was walking away from the house. They know she wasn't in the basement. What else is Candace lying about? Why did she even lie about that? Why? That makes no sense. I made a video when Don went into jail basically saying, what's the plan? Is there a plan now for the TBI? And I think there was. I think we're seeing it play out this week. I'd like to think anyway that some smart people got into a room and put a plan together. There was also an appeal from John to Don, basically saying that he talked to him when he went into jail and told him, anytime you want to talk, I'll come down here and talk to you straight away. We have all the stuff with Don's stepsisters come out this week. I'm not sure on that. I'm not a legal expert by any means. But looking at the Supreme Court ruling in Utah, I can't see how they can charge this and convict somebody by backdating the statute of limitations when they've already come out and said, no, you can't do this. But it's complicated and I don't understand the little details involved at all. But is it just a pressure tactic? Even if they can't, are they pretending that they can? Is that part of the plan? Are the folks in Utah helping out their friends in Tennessee? And we've also learned recently about the LE believing that Candace left the hill twice that day. This is what they've put to Candace. And I believe that LE believe that. I imagine they have very good reason to believe that. Why did Candace leave the hill twice? Where did she go? Is it just another little silly lie, like the basement, or something more sinister? Where could she possibly go, and how could Grandis not know about this? Or was she just asleep? Does she know about it? Is that why the nap is coming up now? She's like, you're on your own, Candace. I was having a nap. I think the pressure is on. I think the pressure is on Don and Candace. Surely if Don is covering for Candace, now is the time to talk. It's now or never. If he doesn't talk in the next few weeks or while he's in jail, he's never going to talk when he gets out. And as for Candace, I hope she comes clean. Go talk to them. Go talk to them, Candace. You're safe from Don. You can't get in area. I don't care if it was an accident. I think people would understand if Candace came out and said, this was an accident. I covered her up because I thought Don was going to murder me because he was an abusive, violent man. I wasn't thinking straight, got caught up, panicked, hit the body. But if that's not even the case, just stop with the lies. Tell them what you know. Tell us you weren't watching her. We know you weren't. Tell us exactly what you were doing between 3:30 and 6 p.m. the day someone went missing. Not some bullshit script. It's embarrassing and nobody believes it. Just do yourself a favor, come clean. Blame Don. Blame Don if you have to. You're never going to see him again. Just come clean, end the circus. That's it. Go talk to them. Go talk to them, Candace. This is turning into a bit of a rant, not the right plan for this video. Go check out the full news clips. I have 3 of them linked down below in the description box. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you thought about it, now that it's a few days later as well. Thank you very much to Dorothy Blake for signing up to my Patreon yesterday. I hadn't heard the sound in a while. I forgot what it sounded like. So it was nice to hear it again. Thank you. Good luck. God bless. Have a good day.
All right. Now it's true crime. Check out the content. Thank you all for listening. This is Everyday Shenanigans. Let's chop it up. Hit the link. Give your opinion pertaining to now. The DA has spoken, and there will be another upload to WJHL pertaining to his commentary. I gave you at length the article pertaining to what he said to the reporter. Feel free to go back to the beginning of this video to get the said information. Anything else can be verified in the YouTube queue and on my community board. Once again, no more mention of the red truck. Did the child wander off? 2 minutes, she was gone, allegedly. What's the truth? Candace Bly has never given a timeline of events of that day from the time they left the house to the time they returned. And I believe a reporter should have asked, what time did you notice your child gone? See, she would have been caught in the headlights because she wouldn't be expecting that. See, she talked around the subject. We were planting flowers, eyes stoic. They didn't even move her eyes. She was sedated on something. I don't know what. I don't know if she took a Percocet or what the hell she took, but old girl was gone. Foul play, that was mentioned the past 10 months. Now it's no abduction, no traffic from what they've gained from the parents and evidentiary materials. Everybody's still a suspect. That was mentioned months ago. Mr. Pruitt mentions that if Summer Wells is back there somewhere, naturally her remains, he believes she's nearby if they were to find her. So that lets me know that he knows something, as Mr. True Crime has said here, Naval's True Crime. They know something. They've got the tools to know. We do not. They've checked phone pings, this and that, GPS, and perhaps something has come back that kept pinging back there in that damn community. And that's why they were on the ground back in November up until this year, searching back there. Because what you have to ask yourself is this. The child left the property allegedly and went to Kingsport, Tennessee for a little while. Why aren't they searching Kingsport? Why aren't they searching Jonesboro? Do you know how many counties they could search for a child if they thought perhaps she'd been in those said places? This is why I always tell you all to stay woke. You don't hear them searching the swimming hole, the hospital, the hippie house, near where Allie lived. Stay woke. It's a reason for the season. I do believe we're nearing an end. And the key players have come forward, Mr. Pruitt and Mr. Armstrong, to introduce themselves, because what they're telling you is you're going to be seeing a lot of us. Perhaps. So we're going to go ahead and tell you who we are now, so there'll be no misunderstanding later. You will formally know us now. And arrests are possible. That was also mentioned by Mr. Armstrong. The parents not cooperating. Why? When did Candace and Don stop cooperating with law officials? Did they stop last summer? When was the last time these two had a conversation with law officials, TBI, FBI? When was the last time these officials called either party to hold a conversation, ask a question? Was it last year or this year? The family attorneys that were appointed for the children, are these goofballs using these attorneys for their attorneys? Well, would it be the same? Because they're not criminal attorneys, they're attorneys representing children issues. And what were the issues that led the state to come get those children out of the holler 6 weeks later that have now spilled over into this investigation? And as I've told you all, if the state was actually involved with these people, they would have taken the children night one, which was June 15th, I would suspect. Are the parents guilty? They have guilty knowledge of what happened to the child. They orchestrated this crime. That's why they stopped cooperating. They've become internet junkies, yet all of the children are gone. Does that look appropriate to you? Somebody with a free-thinking mind. Why would you be involved with social media and your child is missing and your other children are gone? The time you spend on social media talking to people live, you could be working a job. You could be going to school, taking a trade. Hell, crying yourself to sleep. How about that? I miss my children. I want my children back. I need my children. Can't make it without my kids. I can't eat. I can't sleep. Can't comb my hair. I can't bathe. I can't make it. Somebody help me. I need my children. But you don't hear that from Candace Bly, Donald Wells, or Grandmama. Everybody's just up and at them as if the children never existed, which leads one to believe that's the attitude you had when they were here, invisible. Stay woke. You left the hill 2 times that day. Doing what, Candace? You took a run, walk. You changed the version 3 times because you knew that people were talking and gossiping on social media. So you changed your version when you did the interview outside your house with Ansley. That's when you mentioned that I don't take a walk because of the bears and snakes. Stop the BS. See, I knew then you were lying. Because the subject is summer, so why are you talking about yourself? See, this is why I always tell you all to pay attention to the details. You don't have to have somebody admit, hey, I killed my kid, I sold my kid, they fell down the stairs, I beat him to death, the other kid did something. Pay attention to what they're saying and what they're not saying. I don't take no run. I don't run nowhere. Well, first of all, what are you talking about? We're not talking about you. You see, it's always I with a narcissist. I. It's not supposed to be I nothing. The story is about summer. So what the hell are you talking about? I don't go here. I don't run there. You're supposed to be saying, my child wouldn't go over there. My child wouldn't leave the property. That's why I know you did something to her, see? You told on yourself right there. You said, I don't go nowhere. And I know you said that because you've been watching YouTube and you heard us chatting about you. So you changed the narrative. As a matter of fact, you changed it at least 3 or 4 times. First is planting flowers, and she was inside. Then Miss Earhart, a couple days later, says she was outside without no shoes on. Then when you do the interview, you're talking about running here and I don't do this, I don't do that. You're just all over the place. You talk too much. You see, the time you spend going on lives and stuff, you should have been orchestrating your story straight. Kind of like, be quiet. But you don't have that kind of common sense because you've been a lonely old maid most of your life. Nobody paid Candace Bly any attention. Don, same thing. You two want to be validated. You want to be thought of as important. That's why we know you're guilty of hurting that little girl because she has never been the focus and she's supposed to be the focus because you're the one that called the dispatch. I didn't call her. You called. So why is it that everything's about you? You and Don. Who hurt your feelings? Who made you cry? What the hell are you talking about? What the hell is wrong with you? See, that's why I know you did something to her. And I thought about you today, Candace. I'm going to keep it 100 with you and the chat today. I said, maybe the queen should go talk to Candace Bly, since everybody likes talking to her. Maybe if I paid you a little visit and shook your collarbone, you tell the truth. You see, because I have the advantage that most YouTubers don't have. I live near you. They do not. They got to get on plane, trains, and shit. I ain't got to go get on nothing. I ain't got to get on nothing. I can just roll on up the highway. I thought about it tonight when I was coming in off the highway. Why don't you just go on up to Rogersville and pay that heifer a visit? Everybody likes 5 minutes of fame, making videos. Sure enough, give them something to talk about. Because I want to know what the hell's your problem. And how long you going to just let this song and dance go on about this baby. I want to know when you're going to put an end to it. Because I'm sick of your ass. I'm just sick of it. Sick of you, sick of Don, sick of your so-called entourage, friends, associates, your little cronies flapping around like a bunch of wet-ass seals. I'm sick of all of you. Check yourself. Will Don ever talk to law enforcement? Tell the truth, what he knows. Is this an elaborate plan she's doing to X him out? Make him squirm in that jail wondering what she's doing. Thank you, Rags. Maybe it's an elaborate plan for Candace to finally free herself of Donald Wells. I don't need him anymore. I've got friends out here. I got people that like me. I don't need him. He's too old anyway. As old black folks would say, you know you ain't supposed to be messing with them old men, good, they give you worms. Shut up, Angela. Oh, Kelly, you know I know better than that. Just conversation, dear. Just conversation. Is this blame Don? Is this going to be blame Don hour? Because somebody's going to have to start talking. Who's it going to be? See, you all want her to keep talking. Oh, maybe she'll trip up. You really don't know sick people, obviously. Don't you think by now she would have told you what she did with the little girl? Come on now. You're almost 10 months in. She ain't told you nothing. She's playing a game, and yet you ride with it and you fall for it, and you steady keep talking about, let her talk, let her talk, let him talk, let him talk. Well, Don can't talk now. He locked up. So ain't nobody left but Candace. And she's too busy batting her lashes and drinking Mountain Dew and worrying about what color her hair. She ain't getting ready to tell you what she did with that little girl. Now, that would just be too damn easy. That would just be too easy. And Candace knows she can't hang in that jail. Because they ain't giving out no Mountain Dew bottles and R&R whiskey in there. No whiskey in the Hawkins County Jail. No Mountain Dew in the jail. And the fact that allegedly she don't like to take a bath, well, that should be no problem because your ass ain't going to bathe in there every day either. Yes, game player. You want to walk around musty, funky? Go to jail. You only have to worry about it because your ass ain't going to be bathing in that. Ain't no Victoria's Secret, no bubble bath, no Body Works, no nothing. No Bath and Body Works in there. So, Candace, as Mr. Navarro's True Crime has said so eloquently, will you just put an end to this, please? And because I'm tired of looking at these goofy-ass YouTubers riding around in their cars pretending to be looking for summer. I've had enough. And I'm tired of looking at them in my YouTube queue. Give it a break. Just tell us where she is, and we can move on and get on to some other stories. Because in the end, there are other children and missing people. There was another subject I wanted to talk about in this live. I didn't put it in the title because I really didn't want to do two separate videos. But I'm going to share a story with you all because, you know, I said I'm probably going to start sharing stories on this network that happen to be true. We'll never give the name of the people because I don't need them suing me. But if they watch, they'll say, damn, she's talking about me. Yeah, I am. Hit the link. Give your opinion. And while I wait for a victim to hit the link, I'm going to spin a story to you. Something that happened here recently here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Let me get my information out. It is also a true crime where I do believe I know somebody that possibly may be involved in the crime. Lord, I hope not. But you know how Queen sits and ponders on things, and I started putting stuff together. And I was thinking today, I was like, something ain't right with this story I'm reading in the news. I just talked to somebody, and I hope this body that they found isn't in North Knoxville. That's the first thing I said to myself. So I started reading the article, and lo and behold, they gave the street name. It was in North Knoxville. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Woo! Got to be more careful. This is a true story. And when I wrap it up, I'm going to take it somewhere. You know I will. This is in a news break. If you want verifications for the information. Thank you all for joining me. Please listen very carefully to what I'm reading to you because it confused the hell out of me, possibly because it was just too early to be reading. So I had to keep reading and reading and reading to make sure I was reading what I was reading. Here we go. Slaying victim found in wrecked van after chase. A homicide suspect led Knoxville Police Department officers on a wild chase in a minivan containing the victim's body before crashing in North Knoxville, authorities said Monday. Darius Smith, 25, of Knoxville, was taken into custody on a slew of charges, including first-degree murder, and was being held without bond in Knox County jail system. The victim, 27-year-old Justin Goins, was reported missing on March 31st, and officers were dispatched to 1012 Leon Drive on that date because witnesses had reported that his car was parked behind the house along with a Chrysler minivan, according to KPD spokesperson Scott Erlin. The witnesses had reportedly gone to Leon Drive address in an effort to locate Goins, where they reportedly saw Smith flee the scene in a suspicious manner, Erlin said. By the time investigators reached the scene, Goins' car was gone and Smith had reportedly left in the minivan. Stay woke. The car was gone and Mr. Smith left in the minivan. So who drove away the dead man's car? Investigators learned through witness statements that the victim's ex-girlfriend / witness was now dating the defendant, and there were possible threats toward the victim, according to court records filed in connection with the case. It turned out that Goins' car had been dumped on French Road in South Knox County, and it was soon located by investigators who made a gruesome discovery when they searched the vehicle's interior. Are you still listening? The victim's car had been thoroughly cleaned with a chemical cleaner, but a small amount of blood was found in the cup holder of the victim's vehicle, said Erlin. About 3:15 p.m. the following day, 24 hours after Goins was first reported missing, the city's LPR camera system detected the minivan in the area of Odom Avenue and Elm Street in North Knoxville. Officers located the van and attempted to stop it after the driver, who was identified as Darius Smith, committed a traffic infraction. The van fled north on Elm Street before crashing into a tree at the intersection of Elm and Virginia Avenue. Smith ran from the crash scene but was taken into custody by responding officers inside a home in the 700 block of West Emerald Avenue a short time later, said Erlin. Investigators obtained a search warrant for the crashed minivan and found Goins' bullet-riddled body inside, according to court records. So listen to what I'm saying. People went looking at this house for the friend or whomever, the guy one. His car is parked behind the house alongside the minivan. The guy, suspect, gets into the minivan, take off. So they go call police, woo. Police come back. The victim's car is now missing. Police later find the car cleaned up, but blood left in the cup holder. They go on a chase the suspect, where he wrecks the car, gets out running, and they go into this minivan and find the dead guy inside. Jesus, I'm dead. Oh, Lord, I think I'm going to go crazy. Investigators obtained a search warrant for the crashed minivan and Goins, as I said, bullet-riddled body inside, according to court records. After further interview of a witness, she admitted to being present at 721 West Emerald Avenue when the defendant shot the victim, wrote KPD investigator Timothy Riddle in the arrest warrant charging Smith with the killing. In addition to first-degree murder, Smith has been charged with felony evading arrest, reckless driving, from running from the police, records show. Smith has a lengthy history of domestic violence against at least 2 women, including 2019 incident in which he allegedly pulled a handgun and fired several rounds at his then girlfriend and her small child when she broke up with him, court records show. Goins' slaying marked the 9th homicide in Knoxville so far in 2022. By way of comparison, there had been no fewer than 15 homicides as of April 5th of last year, which was the city's bloodiest year on record. I know some of you are saying, well, okay, it's another true crime, Angela. Why are you telling us this story? Oh, Lordy. I'm telling you this story because when I was reading the story, my mind started to wander about a conversation I had with someone on Saturday night. And in that conversation, Saturday night, while I was out doing me, I saw a young lady who I hadn't seen in a long time. And I said to her, hey, how you doing? I ain't seen you in a long time. And she said, yeah, I know. I decided to come out because my boyfriend was murdered. Stay woke. So I didn't think no more of it, but I said, oh my goodness, I'm sorry to hear that. So I didn't focus on that the rest of the evening because I was enjoying myself. It didn't dawn on me that perhaps the guy she was speaking of is this dead guy in this story. Because the first thing I thought was, while reading the story, when it first came up as a notification, I said, please tell me that the victim wasn't in North Knoxville. That's all it's going to take for me to think it's the same girl in this story, same guy. Lo and behold, Cecil is on the north side of Knoxville, where all this mess jumped off, or somewhere, this and Emerald, whatever. So I always tell myself, if you thought this story took place in North Knoxville before even reading the story all the way, it's your discerning spirit telling you that 9 times out of 10, the girl you were talking to Saturday night is the girl that's the witness in this story. Because that's what really jarred me, was not just that the story took place in North Knoxville, which I had suspected. It's the fact that the witness is the fucking girlfriend. So that means she was there when the two got into it and the new boyfriend killed the old boyfriend. Stay woke now. So now I have to ask myself the ultimate questions, which are, because there's several. What the hell were all 3 of them doing at this house? Whose house was it? Why did he shoot him? Why did he hide his car? Why didn't she call the police to say, hey, my new boyfriend shot my old boyfriend? See, this is where it's getting ready to get real grimy. Because if people came looking for him and they saw the car parked behind the house, that means he was somewhere discarded, which we later find out in the new boyfriend's van at that time when the police found the van. So I'm confused as all hell, because now I have to look at her suspect if indeed this is the story that she didn't go into, but Queen put it together by, don't ask how I did it, but I did. Why didn't you call the police to say, hey, I got a dead guy laying here that I used to date? So then if she's the girl in the story, what's even more sickening is that she's telling me her boyfriend is dead. But the story in the article is saying the dead man's the ex-boyfriend. So Jesus Christ, what is going on? You know the Queen is going to do some digging later and find out if this girl I was talking to is the witness that didn't call the police about the dead man. Because now I'm starting to wonder if she set it up. Oh, Jesus. Excuse me. Allergies. Sorry about that. This is interesting to me. This is a very interesting story. Yeah. She had to have something to do with it, sweetheart, because why didn't she call the police to say her new boyfriend shot her old boyfriend? And then whose house is that on Emerald Avenue? Whose house is that? Is that her house? Or is that the new boyfriend's house? Hell, is it the old boyfriend's house? Hell, who's on first? Because I'm lost. This is, oh, Lord have mercy. Kinsley, I'm not going through anything, Marilyn. I just said hello to somebody. Queen ain't going through nothing. Let me make that clear. For anybody listening to this story, I ain't seen this young girl in a long time. I know of her through other relatives of relatives, and she has some children by a young man who's kind of like family to me. His grandmother was married to my uncle. So therefore, I don't want to go any further into discussing all that because I just got a bad feeling I got a real bad feeling. Yes, the world is small. That's why I keep trying to tell people about doing stuff, talking about stuff. You know, I have to be very careful the stories I choose to even bring to the network, because you never know when it may hit a nerve with somebody. Because see, that's the thing about street people. They don't ever want people talking about stuff that they've done. They don't. And so me living in the general area, naturally, I have to pick and choose which stories to talk about, how I deliver the commentary, because there'll always be somebody in the background watching and wondering, why is she talking about that? That's none of her business. But, you know, I talk about various subject matters. My thing is, if you don't want anybody talking about what you did or didn't do, then don't make the news. Because once it's public news, that's it. It's the news. You don't have any control over that. It's a very interesting story. Oh, that I had to hear it. Oh, okay, Marilyn. Yeah. But it's strange because when she told me that, I just looked at her. You know, I thought maybe the guy was shot or hurt or something like that. I didn't think no more of it that night. I went on doing my thing. It did not dawn on me that possibly she is the girl of the boyfriend. I mean, she's the girlfriend of that guy until today when I got the notification on my phone. I started reading the story and I started getting that weird, creepy feeling while reading the story. And I told myself, whenever you get that feeling, it's because it's something to it. Because I get notifications every day about true crime and I don't get that eerie feeling. And something said while I was reading it, my mind said, she's that girlfriend of one of these in this story. Lord have mercy. What a mess. Yes, I know they have nothing to live for. And what will be sad is if indeed she's the person in this story that watched the murder and didn't call law officials. She's got a lot of children. She has a lot of children to take care of. Well, now, who's going to take care of your children? If indeed the district attorney or somebody decides to also aid you as an accessory. Well, they'll probably won't give her any time because she's the first one to give the account about the dead body and how it got dead. That's usually how it works. The first person that talks gets the deal. But still, who the hell wants that on their record or just be associated with it? You're that chick. So even if they give you immunity, what guy wants to lay up with you? Hey, don't date her. She'll watch you get shot and won't call the damn police. Jesus, well, I'm just dead. Whew, Lord have mercy, my head's spinning. If you have an opinion pertaining to this story and or Summer Wells and the lead detective and now the Attorney General coming forward, please hit the link. Thank you for joining me. Oh, wow. Every day is something. These young people. And that's another topic I wanted to talk about at a later date, is how people get themselves wrapped up in these cases. There's something I wanted to read to you all about the difference between a sociopath and a psychopath. Thank you, Miss Patrick, for the donation, honey. Thank you so much. Jesus, who is this? I don't know, some girl sending me some crazy. I ain't getting ready to invest in nothing. People sending me stupid messages. They say small things come in small packages. Say what, honey? We're going to talk about briefly sociopaths versus psychopaths. Since we talk about a lot of true crime on this network, it is time that we know the difference between the two. Sociopath is a term people use often arbitrarily to describe someone who is apparently without conscience. In most cases, it's a description blithely tossed out to label a person as being either hateful or hate-worthy. The same applies to the term psychopath, which to many people suggests a sociopath who is simply more dangerous, like a mass murderer. While the characteristics of sociopathy and psychopathy may overlap, sociopathy is the unofficial term for antisocial personality disorder. Psychopathy is not an official diagnosis and is not considered APD. While the terms sociopath and psychopath are often used interchangeably, each has its own clear lines of distinction that can be broadly described. I think they got a video here. Let me see what it says. Hold on.
While the characteristics of sociopathy and psychopathy may overlap, sociopathy is the unofficial term for APD. Psychopathy is not an official diagnosis and is not considered APD. Psychopaths are people with little or no conscience, and sociopaths have a limited ability to feel empathy and remorse. While they're often used interchangeably, there are some key distinctions. A sociopath makes it clear they do not care how others feel. A psychopath pretends to care, but fails to recognize other people's distress. Sociopaths are more likely to react violently when confronted by the consequences of their actions, making it hard to maintain work and family life. Psychopaths are able to follow social conventions when it suits their needs. Sociopaths are able to form emotional attachments, but it can be very difficult. Psychopaths are unable to form genuine emotional attachments, leading to fake and shallow relationships. Violence is not an inherent characteristic of either disorder. But people with antisocial personality disorder will often go to great lengths to manipulate others through charm or fear in order to get what they want. The term sociopath is often used to arbitrarily describe someone who is apparently without conscience or appears to be dangerous. Most times, it's used to label a person as hateful or hate-worthy. Be sure to speak with a mental health professional if you are concerned.
Well, that's some interesting information. So a psychopath pretends to care. The sociopath will tell you, no, I don't care. Very interesting. Sociopath is the one that will pop off and go off when confronted. Very interesting. I learned something today. Okay. All right. Let me finish this. As they said, both are often used interchangeably. Each has its own clear lines of distinction that can be broadly described. This is the difference between the sociopath and the psychopath. While psychopaths are classified as people with little or no conscience, sociopaths do have a limited, albeit weak, ability to feel empathy and remorse. Psychopaths can and do follow social conventions when it suits their needs. Sociopaths are more likely to fly off the handle and react violently whenever they're confronted by the consequences of their actions. Sociopath. Make it clear they do not care how others feel. Behave in hot-headed and impulsive ways. Prone to fits of anger and rage. Recognize what they are doing but rationalize their behavior. That kind of sounds like Donald Wells. Cannot maintain regular work and family life. Can form emotional attachments, but it is difficult. Very interesting. Now, for the psychopath. The psychopath pretends to care. Display cold-hearted behavior. Fail to recognize other people's distress. Have relationships that are shallow and fake. Maintain a normal life as a cover for criminal activity. Fail to form genuine emotional attachments. May love people in their own way. Very interesting. So the psychopath cannot form genuine emotional attachments. The relationships are shallow and fake, and they will maintain a normal life as a cover for criminal activity. So they do more pretending to care. Oh, I love you, I care for you, but then would do something so heinous to show you that they don't. Very interesting. William H. J. Martins argues in his infamous article, The Hidden Suffering of the Psychopath. The psychopaths do at times suffer from emotional pain and loneliness. Most have led hurt-filled lives and have an inability to trust people. But like every human being on the planet, they too want to be loved and accepted. However, their own behavior makes this extremely difficult, if not possible, and most are aware of this. Some feel saddened by the actions they are unable to control because they know it isolates them from others even more. Approach to violence. While it's common to think of sociopaths and psychopaths as being inherently dangerous, this is more a construct of a TV drama than a true reflection of the disorder. Violence, while certainly possible, is not an inherent characteristic of either sociopathy or psychopathy. With that being said, people with APD will often go to extraordinary lengths to manipulate others, whether it be charm, disarm, or frighten them in order to get what they want. Now, this is the sociopath we're speaking of. When psychopaths do become violent, as in the case of Jeffrey Dahmer, they're just as likely to hurt themselves as others. Martins notes that the more a psychopath feels socially isolated, sad, alone, the higher his or her risk for violence and impulsive and or reckless behavior. Origins and development. There are some who say that sociopaths are made and psychopaths are born. But this characterization may be too far broad. While it is true that psychopathy is believed to have genetic components, perhaps caused by the underdevelopment of the parts of the brain that regulate emotion and impulsiveness, there are clearly other factors that contribute to the behavioral disorder. A well-regarded study in psychopathy suggested that psychopaths often have a history of unstable family life and or were raised in poor neighborhoods prone to violence. Many have had parents who were substance abusers and who failed to provide parental guidance or attention. This typically translates to unstable and failed relationships in adulthood and a fixated sense that you have been robbed of opportunities and advantages afforded to everyone else. Sociopathy also tends to be associated with harmful childhood experiences, including sexual abuse, physical violence, or parental instability. So, psychopathy has history of unstable family life, raised in poor neighborhoods prone to violence, may have parents who were substance abusers who failed to provide parental guidance. This typically translates to unstable and failed relationships in adulthood and a fixated sense that you have been robbed of opportunities, advantages afforded to everyone else. Sociopathy also tends to be associated with harmful childhood experiences, including sexual abuse, physical violence, and parental instability. I just want to repeat that again. Sociopaths have a conscience, albeit a weak one, and will often justify something they know to be wrong. By contrast, psychopaths will believe that their actions are justified and feel no remorse for any harm done. Gee, could that be our friend, Mr. Wells? The differentiation may suggest that nature plays more of a role in the creation of a psychopath than a sociopath. This is supported in part by a 2014 review of studies in which as a third of people diagnosed with sociopathy essentially give up their antisocial behavior in later life and develop well-adjusted relationships. Diagnosis. The Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, DSM, classifies APD by a range of personality and behavioral traits that describe how a person functions, how he or she relates to others, and how those beliefs express themselves by actions. Self-functioning characteristics. Self-functioning characteristics are those that reflect what a person is like and how that person views his or her actions or goals. In order to be diagnosed with APD, you must exhibit all of the following characteristics. Attaining self-esteem from power, personal gain, pleasure. Egocentricity or self-centeredness. Setting goals based on personal gratification with little regard to law or ethics. Interpersonal characteristics. Interpersonal characteristics are those that describe how a person interacts with others in general. You must also exhibit these traits to be diagnosed with APD. A lack of empathy for other people's suffering or hurt when confronted with the hurt or anger of people they have manipulated. The inability to have a truly mutually, emotionally intimate relationship because of the instinct to control by dominance or intimidation, coerce, or deceive. Behavioral characteristics. Behavioral characteristics complete the clinical diagnosis by describing the route a person will take to either control, coerce, deceive, such as a strong tendency to disregard commitments, promises, and agreements, including financial ones. Difficulty in making plans, preferring to believe you're able to nimbly navigate problems as they appear. It is not uncommon for someone with APD to be in repeated fights or assaults. Lying as a means to gain social entry or advantage, such as proclaiming yourself as a decorated war hero when you have never served. Making decisions on the spur of the moment with little regard to consequence if an immediate goal is to be achieved. Persistent anger or irritability, even over small things, as well as mean, spiteful behavior. Reacting with callousness, aggression, remorselessness, or even sadism when confronted by the fallout of your actions. Risk-taking, becoming easily bored, and an ability to ignore personal boundaries and justify even the most outrageous of actions. The emotional manipulation of others, for example, pretending to be interested in someone simply to achieve a goal. Very good information. This is by verywellmind.com. Thank you so much for joining me. Ooh, Lordy. So which one are these two? Candace and Don. Good Lord, have mercy. Very sad. I played your commentary going back to the beginning of this case because perhaps there's a reason for the season. These two men have decided to come forward, the lead detective and the attorney general. Perhaps there will be an arrest soon, and we all can move forward and stop assuming this and assuming that and just wait on the information that they will bring forward. And I'm praying that this case ends soon because it's time. It's time. You know, the far-fetched storylines and just outrageousness, people's behavior is very asinine. Very asinine. And it comes a point when a person needs to stop because you're not helping. Hit the link if you want to join us. Give your opinion pertaining to the information. I've played older commentary from 9 months ago from Court TV, where Candace gave her rendition of what happened on June 15th. She and the child. I played you information from WJHL pertaining to the Attorney General giving his commentary on what his role is. Basically, he's the one that calls TBI to get them to help. It can't be done without him asking. So obviously, Hawkins County Sheriff asked him to call them to help. And he's the one that reviews all said information in case information needs to go forward to bring forth charges. Then I played Naval's True Crime. He is a YouTuber, and I played his video pertaining to Blame Dawn. And I think the information was very good, basically saying it's time for Candace to come forward and just tell the truth and put an end to this nonsense, because it doesn't make any sense to keep talking to all these random people, but you're never talking about your child. And you're showing that you and your husband never cared for your children, because this isn't the typical behavior of someone with a missing child and children removed from their care, but want their children back. There's never any mention of these kids wanting them, missing them, needing them, just gibberish. And she appears to be one of these sad topics of psychopath or sociopath. She and Don both. They don't have lasting relationships. They can't because they're too tainted. And Don puts on the act of really a psychopath, acting like he cares about things, but he really doesn't. And I think that's very obvious. And he does make excuses for his behavior. We saw that with the allegations coming out of Utah, how he just glazed over what allegedly happened between he and the girls as children. He doesn't care. It's very sick. Well, Kinsley, that's what happens. Somebody has to take care of the children. Would you like to hit the link and give us your opinion, Kinsley, or somebody? If not, I'll check out of here. I'm an hour and 39 minutes in. Somebody has to take care of the children. That's it. And I'm going to say this. It's 10 months, almost 10 months in, and they lost the kids 6 weeks after the 15th. So 7.5 months, 8 months or so, you've been without your children. What's the problem with you getting them back? Because by now, Candace should have her children back. Her children should have been back. Doesn't take 7, 8 months to get no kids back. that means you're not doing. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. All right. Doesn't take this long to get your children back. You're obviously not doing what you need to do to get your kids back. And I think you keep letting this time go by. You obviously don't know the law. They will go to court and attain the rights to the children wholly. The state will. So just keep sitting up on your lives, talking to these goofballs, because they don't care anything about you. And they obviously don't care anything about your damn children. Because I tell you about yourself. Hey, you need to find something to do, lady. The time you spend it on your lives and drinking and talking to people on cell phones and computers, you could be doing something to get your damn kids back. You're late in the game. Doesn't take no 8-9 months to get no kids back. Because if they told you to quit using drugs, then you should have stopped getting high. Cleaned your system out, a month to get marijuana out your system, all of that. Because from my understanding, marijuana comes out quicker than cocaine. So you had time to get yourself together. You and your husband. And you all have decided to be, want to be internet stars. Well, keep playing these mind games. Because in the end, like I said, when they put them damn handcuffs on you, where them YouTubers going to be? And all these people in your inbox and sending you cash apps and all that. They can't do nothing for you because I bet you they're not going to climb in that damn cell with you. I bet you that. They're not going to climb in there with you. You might get a letter or two. They might be stupid enough to still want to put money on the books for you. But that's as far as it's going. And it's sickening. You need to take a page out of the book of the mother of Naomi Irion. That's a mother who cared for her child. Her child was grown and was kidnapped, assaulted, and murdered and discarded like trash. And that woman cried on TV about her child, her grown 18-year-old daughter. You have yet to shed one damn tear, only when you're talking about yourself. You cried once at the swimming hole with Mr. Dun, and then you've cried on a live with you, Don, and somebody else when some Jenna person or whoever the hell it was betrayed you by telling whatever the hell y'all talked about. See, it was all about you when you cried, but never about Summer. That's why I know you did something to her. Because that's the only time you shed a tear, when you were talking about Candace Bly Wells, not Summer or your boy children. You're empty inside. You don't have anything inside of you. Just mush. You and Don both. You're nothing but two stuffed ass cotton dolls. There's nothing inside of you. You're empty. And that's obvious now. It's been obvious. Well, she don't want her kids back, and that's obvious. That's why I tell people to just let it be, because it doesn't take this long to get your children back. Anybody that really wanted their kids back, they would have been got them back. That wouldn't even been no problem. But see, we don't really know what's all involved. We really don't know all the allegations that have been formed before and or after. We don't know what the CPS has learned. Because as we've said, there are going to be some things 9 times out of 10 that we don't have any idea about. Things we don't know, things that nobody has told. Not Allie, not H, not this Jenna, Jody Sue, these other entities. There'll be some things that possibly the government has found out that nobody knows outside of 110. And that's to be expected, because everybody don't know your business unless you tell it. And that's the thing. Imagine what you don't know. You've had these few people jumping out of clown cars telling you stuff about them. Well, imagine the stuff you don't know. Imagine that stuff that's in the belly of the beast that you got to dig real deep down in to get out. The stuff that they definitely don't want you to know. One can only imagine. Well, she didn't want the job. Obviously, she didn't care. Well, it didn't mean anything to her because she'd have her children back by now. She wanted her kids back. All she had to do was comply with whatever they asked her to do, she and Mr. Wells. And obviously they didn't want to comply. Instead, they want to cry and moan and complain about the world and everybody's so mean. And that's something that made no sense to me. Even to this day, Donald complaining about YouTubers doing this and doing that. Yeah, but you kept talking to them. So how are you going to complain about the same people you're running and gossiping with? And then you fall out with one and you go jump on another one's panel. And then you go live with another one. But yet you talk about them like a dog and say, they're the problem. Oh, how cruel they've been to us. That doesn't even make any sense what you're saying. Whether they looked for you or you went to them, it's all the same. You all are evenly yoked. They were getting something from you and you were getting something from them. So you're even. As someone once said to me, even swap ain't no swindle. You were getting what you wanted from them, and they were getting the views and likes and for the content for their videos. So you all are even. So why complain about it? You liked it and they liked it. So they started seeing some of them that you and that girl are sinister, and you lie and make up stuff and play mind games. I would never fool with you in the first place to get burned. So that's why I tell people, you got to know your place. You sit up here trying to talk to somebody, interview somebody, let them talk, and they possibly kill a kid. That's sick. Very sick. Very, very sick. Well, that's my commentary. We will see what happens with this case. I pray that they have something, that possibly they've said that they don't have anything, that the case is where it was back in June. I'm praying that that is not true. I'm praying that they have something. I'm praying that there will be an arrest or more soon, because I don't want to look up and it's June 15th and we still have nothing. That would be just like the ultimate jab to the gut, is to still be talking about these people and wondering where the child is and when there will be an arrest, plural. But I thank you all for joining the content, following everything. And if you'd like to donate to the channel, $BigAngie 129 Cash App, and all super chats are welcome during the live. Thank you for the donations. Thank you for listening. And please check out that story that I brought to you earlier pertaining to the guy riding around with the dead guy in his van. That's a very wicked story. And I got a real funky feeling that girlfriend, she's a part of that story, because it's obvious she is. She finally told the detectives she saw him kill her ex-boyfriend. So what we have to ask ourselves is, whose house is that? Why were they all at that house? Did one just show up and one of them invited the one in? Did they argue? What really happened? Very interesting story. I thank you all for joining me. You all have a wonderful evening, a blessed weekend, because it's coming up. And I will talk to you guys later. Thank you so much. This is Everyday Shenanigans.